Yes. Huh? Yes. Can we have the door closed, please? Hold on. Okay. Can we have the door closed, please? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to apologize that we're starting way behind schedule, but thank you for your patience. We also understand that Mr. President is having an event now at the State House Conference Center, and also would like to say thank you for everyone who has stayed back for this particular event. As we all know, we'll start with the protocols and then we'll run through the event so that we'll be able to finish up on time. The Honourable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Akindare, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Strategic Communications, standing in for the Chairman of the Presidential Communications Team today, Ms. Oge Funlola Modi, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Digital Transformation, Mr. Oswald Gobadia, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, all Senior Special Assistants to the President, Mr. Daniel Amokachi, I recognize you. Other special assistants and personal assistants to the President and members of the Presidential Communications Team, here present and also those following online. May I also use this opportunity to recognize other members of the delegation accompanying the Honourable Minister for this briefing. Most of them will be coming in as time goes. We also specially acknowledge the presence of all directors and team members accompanying the Minister too, and also a special welcome to our dear distinguished athletes and also great ambassadors of this country, Toby Amuson and Ese Brume, representing all the other athletes that got their presidential honors today. And of course, gentlemen of the press, good afternoon. We warmly welcome you to the 51st session of the State House briefing organized by the Presidential Communications Team. The State House briefing, during its 24th session, held on 18 November 2021, hosted the Honourable Minister of Youth and Sports Development on this platform. At that session, the Honourable Minister laid the foundation of the strides recorded by this administration in the key area of youth and sports development, and also steps being laid down to develop sports in Nigeria. Almost a year after that briefing, we are seeing the practical impact of the vision of the ministry, which was shared on that day. We may all recall with nostalgia Nigeria's recent feats at the just concluded 2022 Commonwealth Games held at Birmingham, United Kingdom. It is worthy to note that Team Nigeria amassed a total of 35 medals. The medalists were all rewarded today by Mr. President himself, and also the gold medal haul is the highest at a single Commonwealth Games for Team Nigeria, representing its best performance, and this impressive outing ensured that Team Nigeria also finished as the best-ranked African country on the medals table, placing 7th overall. Today, 15th September 2022, the victorious Nigerian Contingent to the Commonwealth Games were received officially by Mr. President himself, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, and this briefing today has been set up to brief the press on the preparations and processes that led to this laudable outing by Nigeria at that event. The briefing session would be anchored by the Honourable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, and he would brief the press on this platform for just a short period, and after that, we'll take question and answers, and basically round up for the day. At this juncture, it is my honor to invite the Honourable Minister, Mr. Sunday Dare, to the podium for a brief presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here again. I was here a couple of months ago, and I got a lot of love from the media people here. I want to thank you so much. I'm sure I'm going to get some love again today, especially when I have these two champions here with me. You will have no choice. What a time to hold this briefing. The date, I must thank Oge and our team for picking a very memorable day, September 15, 2022. Let me start by saying that Mr. President has been extremely supportive, and I know what I'm talking about. When you run a budget of 2.1 billion naira for Ministry of Youth and Sports, and then you have 2 or 3 major international championships, your budget is an envelope. You can't go beyond it. Each time we have to write letter to go to Mr. President for presidential intervention. And not just our ministry, other ministries and other ministers also ask for that intervention. It's not easy to get that kind of funding. But each time I've approached Mr. President, in the nick of time, we got approval for this funding. And that has been a major part of our success. The last time I was here, we spoke at length about our performances at the Olympics, where we got 2 medals, the best performance in 13 years, if it's benchmarked, where we had about 6 or 7 different highlights in which we set records at the Olympics. But also we did say that we move on to make sure that we improve our performance at future competitions. We spoke about the Adopt an Athlete at that time. We spoke about efforts being made to make sure that Nigeria does not miss any qualifying series or any competition, as the case may be. We kept to that. Several qualifiers were held in different parts of the world. Athletes had to show up. We had to do a national trial where we brought all our athletes to Benin, Ogbemudia Stadium, to compete so that we could build Team Nigeria. But I think the most important is that these athletes, wherever they were, whether home-based or foreign-based, were showing up for the competitions that were needed to get the rating they needed to get into the club of those that would compete at that level. From Benin, we built our team. The federations did their work. We decided to go with 9 federations. We did some data mining. We applied smart sport. We decided we'll go with 9 sports where we have competitive advantage. And for the very first time ever, we went with the smallest number of sports, smallest contingent, and the highest number of medals. Beyond that, I think a lot of credit goes to our athletes, and I did speak to it this afternoon. Talent without discipline will not give you any production. Our athletes have been disciplined. they've been focused, they've been committed. Even when sometimes our resources cannot get to them early, we had that understanding. But for them to have remained with Nigeria, to wear our colors, to run under our banner, because we know several other athletes have changed their citizenship, I think they deserve a lot of credit, because these are athletes that are well known globally, and any country will snatch them. But I'm sure today they will be glad that a grateful country and a grateful president, who is the father of all, came out for them, stood up for them. We hope that this will inspire other young, talented athletes who will eventually wear the colors of this country and run for Nigeria. Let me speak to two things that's critical on sports. You had the president say, sports is now business. And he meant business when he said that. Because 18 months ago, after I made a presentation to council, sports was changed from mere recreation to business. When sports was recreation, it was not a productive activity, it was just service. Sports never had a seat at the table when they were divvying up the budget for economic activity, because nothing was coming in from there. At the ARPG, we were never there. We didn't get a dime. But because sports was reclassified and we started working on the policy to take to council, for the first time we had a seat at the table at the ARPG, the successor plan, which is the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, where sports got 80 billion and youth was allocated 60 billion. Of course, the funding of that National Development Plan will be by both the public and the private sector. So you look at it, a quantum of 140 billion for youth and sports never happened before. But beyond that, the National Sports Industry Policy that has at its center a business model to leverage on private sector funding, that policy is ready. It's just waiting for the time we're going to present it to the council for approval. And that policy is driven by three triggers. We call them the 3 I's and 1 P. Infrastructure. You can't have sports development, you can't have sports as business without infrastructure. The second one is investment. You need public and private sector investment to drive it. It's the same all over the world. The last one is incentive. The government must provide a bouquet of incentives. Why will I spend 1 million for sports development and infrastructure and get nothing in return? No return on investment. When I can spend 1 million in producing cement and get return on investment. We want to change that. So when you invest in sports, there are some incentives, tax rebates, single-digit loans, national honors and medals, etc. We hope that this policy would deliver for us. We've seen corporate organizations, more than 14 of them, support us, raising close to $1 million that went directly to our athletes. We've seen 2 wealthy individuals, Dangote, Babajabu, pouring in almost $2.5 million into developing sporting infrastructure. That's sports as business, already, taking off. Yesterday, after FEC, I ran to Lagos. Premium Trust Bank, a bank that is just 7 months old, has bought into that idea of sports as business. They were the first bank to make Toby Amusa and Ese Brume their ambassadors, sports ambassadors, and that comes with a lot. It was a big ceremony we had yesterday, and we believe that the season is here. We'll get the right policy to drive it. Even our athletes, a lot of value will be placed on them because they sign endorsements, which never happened before. So for sports, as the focus is now, that's where we are. We're preparing for France 2024. Already we have a big Philip from Oregon. We have a big Philip from Commonwealth. We are unaware that right now, a lot of people want to beat us. The Jamaicans are not happy with us. Are they? The Britons are not happy with us. The Kenyans are not happy with us because of what happened. So we know that we really need to keep at it so that when we get to France 2024, the standard we have set, we will try to go above it. And I'm sure that our athletes can do it. Youth development, of course, I can tell you off the cuff that we've only received 10 billion naira out of the 25 billion naira for the first year for the National Youth Investment Fund. we've been able to disburse to over 31,000 youth. Normally, there's a process. We send out an email. You have to reply us to say, thank you, I accept. Once we don't get a feedback, we keep your name. So over 45,000 have been approved for that loan. Only about 31,000 have responded, and the funds have gone to them, between 250,000 naira to 3 million. Whatever you get is based on the idea or the business that you put forward. Beyond that, our trainings are going on, digital training. I think the most important is the research we did as a ministry. We looked at the problem of skills mismatch. There are jobs out there for our youth, but the degrees they have cannot fit in for those jobs. And we found out that cybersecurity, the jobs available in cybersecurity in Africa alone is 1.5 million jobs. In this country alone, more than 350,000. That is, there are organizations looking for a cybersecurity expert, certified. So the ministry last month partnered with Allergen. And when we put out the call, after 3 days, 61,000 youth applied for cybersecurity training to be certified. As we speak, we've trained about 6,000 have graduated. They will get their certification. We can't train the 61,000 because there's a cost implication, but we will take them in batches. And then, so that's the kind of thing we're doing. 120 digital skills. We have decided there are 15 of those digital skills that are relevant in our economy and that you can also outsource. You can sit here if you have that skill and work for a company in Asia, in India, in the UK. And that's what we're doing. We're being smart about our approach to solving the youth problem. The whole idea of entrepreneurship is key. The entire 75 billion naira approved by Mr. President for NYF is for entrepreneurship. You have an idea, you have a skill, that money is going to support you. It might be small. What is the final bus stop for us when it comes to youth development? Our plan is that we can get the Youth Investment Fund to become Youth Bank. We want to make sure that this administration will be the first administration ever to have youth banks. Imagine when our youth can walk in with their portfolio to their own banks. There will be special consideration, single-digit loan rates, professionals to guide them. That is the future of decent jobs for our youth. When you look at AFDB plan, it's looking at youth banks. You look at the United Nations Youth Office, it's about youth banks. The NYF that we have is well positioned for that. And once we go to council to ask for youth banks to be established, I think we will have dealt a blow to the question of lack of access to finance and credit, the debt of entrepreneurship among our youth, and then we'll have given our youth the opportunity to be able to reach for the skies. Thank you, and good afternoon.
No, it's it, sir. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for that wonderful, apt presentation. At this point in time, the hands are up already. And today, we'll give preference to the ladies, so we'll have the ladies ask more questions. Adeswa, Raliat. Yes. Sure. Help me, please. The question is not just for the Honourable Minister only. The question can go to the athletes too. Okay. Juliana, Adeswa, Raliat, Yemi, and Bolaji for the first set.
Good afternoon. I must say I'm starstruck, Toby and Ese. I hope I do get your autographs before you leave here today. Well done. Honourable Minister, can you throw more light on this youth investment funds you talk about? What's the goal, the final goal for it? But I also want to ask you and Toby Amuson, another Nigerian, unfortunately, has failed a drug test. Toby, I don't know if you want to speak to that, because the story is that you may be stripped of the 4x100 meter relay gold at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham because of this. Thank you. That's a question? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Juliana Taiwo Baloyen of the Sun newspapers. So, Honourable Minister, don't you think that the 10-year football master plan will attract sanction from FIFA, especially the amendment of the NFF status? And then to Toby, I'd like to know, what was the turning point for you in your career? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honourable Minister. My name is Yemi Adebayo from AIT. My first question is to you, the Honourable Minister. I want to find out from you, why was the League Management Committee sealed today? And what is your reaction on the court stopping NFF elections? And my second question is to Toby Amison. Over and over again, I've watched a video where after you won the gold, and at the time they were playing the nation's national anthem, you know, there was tears rolling down on your cheek. I want to find out from you, what was running through your mind at that time? Were you thinking that this is a nation in challenges and this is happening at this time? What was running through your mind at that time? Thank you.
Yeah, Honourable Minister, I'm Bolaji Ogundele and I write for the Nation newspaper. Well, the question I planned to ask was led, but it was meant to be addressed at you. The issue with Nwokocha, I need you to bring us to speed on that. What is happening? Thank you very much, sir.
Sincerely, can you hear me? All right, let me take the first question on the National Youth Investment Fund. You'll recall clearly that about 2 years ago, I brought a memo to council for the establishment of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. And it was driven by the conviction that we needed to move a paradigm shift from merely empowering our youth to investing in their lives, in their careers, in their skills. Because empowerment cannot take you really far. But also convinced that no country in the world has been able to solve its youth unemployment problem without deliberately placing its youth on the path of entrepreneurship. We found out that access to credit, the interest rates were high. Our youth cannot really start any small businesses. And we got the council, the president and council approved 25 billion naira per year for 3 years for the youth of this country. It took a while to get it started. We eventually got it started, but we had to do it the right way. We had the DBN, Development Bank of Nigeria, as the main bankers where the fund is domiciled. None of the money comes through the ministry because it's a ring-fenced fund. And then the DBN found and appointed 3 PFIs, financial institutions, to disburse to the youth. You must have applied, you must have followed the template, you must have met the criteria of being a youth. Some of those are applied and are more than 35 years because we built in a wizard. They stopped at the point during the application, you can't go any further. But also, we have individual businesses, we have businesses that are registered, those not registered. For every category, there's an amount you can get. Your kind of business are there, whether it's new, whether it's several years old, will also determine what you get. So all of that is well templated and it's ongoing. We expect that before the end of the year, we can have another 10 billion naira to close out the year, and then we can bring on another 25 to 30,000 of our youth. So it's the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. Right now the portal is closed because 4.1 million people applied about 2 years ago, and we have to take them in batches. Some people that were approved for the money have not responded. Some said the money was small, but by and large, we've had a very enthusiastic population of youth respond to the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. We believe that the future of that fund is bright, and it gets brighter if we're able to have the establishment of youth banks, that is specialized banks like will cater for our youth. And we think that will help our youth. On the 4x100 meters, you see, there's no speed right now. I can't bring you up to speed because as I sit at the minister, there's a process that is ongoing. We should be confidential until a final pronouncement is made. I cannot give you any update beyond what is out there. So we just have to wait because it's a standard process. Whatever country that is affected, you wait for a final process. And we have to be very careful here because the life and career of an individual is at stake. And that's why the people in charge are also extremely careful, and they have begged and asked us for confidentiality, that until all the processes are exhausted and they make a pronouncement. So that is the speed that I can give. I can't give no further speed on that. The 10-year master plan. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has oversight and supervisory powers. It is empowered by the 2004 NFA Act, empowered by Decree 34 of this country, the laws of our country, to administer sports, to set general direction for sports development in our country, whether it's football, basketball, table tennis, whatever it is. It is in the exercise of that duty that we call for a master plan. More so, it came from Mr. President after we made a presentation to him to show the challenges we've had with our football development, the power of football and sports diplomacy, and the need to say this country is a football nation, but we do not have a master plan that can drive our development. No country develops without a deliberate plan. So what we've done is within our remit as a ministry, within the government remit, within the powers of Mr. President, we oversees every single sector of the economy, and we put forward a policy. Ministries put forward policies. The health policy is done by the health ministry. Education policy is done by the education ministry. It can be no different. The sports policy is done by the sports ministry, be it football. There was first a country before any federation. So what we've done is a master plan for football. The agency that will implement it is the NFF. It's been handed over to them. It is short term, medium term, and long term. And already we are working on the short term because we need to get our football up to speed. On the LMC and the NFF court case, I have no comment. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So, in regards to your question, pretty much that moment was more of a finally kind of moment for the artwork, the sacrifices, the dedication, and mostly more of the setbacks, failure, and defeats every now and then. So it was just a moment of relief. So, yeah, pretty much.
Okay, next set of questions, John Bosco, Harry, Stephen. Okay, just behind Anthony. Oh, Leon, Dr. Leon. Just one more session, okay.
Yeah, Honourable Minister, my name is John Bosco Abakura, I write for Vanguard. First of all, we have to congratulate you for all the good things you are doing. I think your tenure, has attracted a lot of, success achievements, to the country. Once again, congratulations. But there is a disturbing question that I want to hear from you. What is your reaction to allegations that you travel with your family members and friends during the Olympic and shortchange the people that were supposed to go there really of their extra codes? It has been an allegation, going here and there. We want to hear from you, Honourable Minister, your reaction. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honourable Minister. I think the question I wanted to ask has been scratched, but I think I have to go deeper into it. And it has to do with, Honourable Minister, it has to do with the NFF September 30 election. Let's assume, because you said you are not going to comment on it until you get a grasp of what the court case is all about, I guess. But let's still work on the assumption that the election is going to hold on 30th of September. My question is that, having scrapped, it is not you, it is the Supreme Court of the country, and anywhere in the world, when the Supreme Court of that country rules, then the next appeal will go to God. If I may quote, let Justice Chukwudifu Oputa, a Supreme Court judge. Now, the Supreme Court has scrapped LMC. You held on to it, that happened 7 months ago, but just last Thursday, you met the federal government, which you represent, made the announcement. And because the man heading the LMC is one of the contestants, probably that's why they had to go and resurrect this court case. My question is that, why did you wait 7 months after the Supreme Court had made a pronouncement before scrapping LMC? And you may also like to throw more light, sir. You have interacted with 11 presidential candidates, including your aide, Daniel Amakachi. And, all right, because I saw his name on the list, but if he's not, Honourable Minister, being a sports reporter, I'm depressed that football didn't get a mention here. And we are praising other sports, and that's good. And Amakachi was one of those that brought joy to this country. And they brought Olympic gold. If we are celebrating Commonwealth, I think Olympic is the higher. Please,
Harry.
What can you say about the 11 that have been cleared to contest in this presidential election? Thank you.
Order, please, order, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Leon Usigbe. I represent the Nigerian Tribune. Toby Amundsen, when you set a new world record, there were some attempts to undermine your achievements. I recall the comments of a few notable sports people at the time, such as Michael Johnson, former world record holder in 400 meters. I want to know from you, how prevalent do you think racism or other forms of discrimination, are in the course, towards you, other Nigerian athletes, in the course of your, going around the world and competing? The Honourable Minister, sir, you mentioned some countries that are not happy with Nigerians' rising profile. So what measures do you have in place to protect Nigerian athletes from any form of discrimination or injustice? Thank you.
That's it, okay.
Thank you very much for those questions. Let me start with the Vanguard reporter. This is the first time I'm hearing about that allegation of the Olympics. It's surprising it's coming 14, 15 months after. As a minister, I take joy in the fact that I am married. My marriage anniversary, 27th marriage anniversary, is going to be tomorrow. I'm blessed with 3 kids. Yes, I traveled to the Olympics, and I traveled with my wife alone, no other person. It's also on record. It's also on record that our books are opened. Nobody was shortchanged. You're media men. You can come and check how many journalists went to the Olympics and the Paralympics. Then come and check how many journalists we took to the Commonwealth. A record 16 journalists, all fully paid for. Come and check how many journalists we took to Cup of Nations, all fully paid, more than 18. So that is a lie from the pit of hell. I have a right, as a citizen, not even a minister, to travel with my wife. And that's what I did when I went to the Olympics. But thank you for bringing it out. The NFF, September 30th, 11. And I do understand the interest around the NFF. But we're in such a period in which whatever I said might be misconstrued. Now, I just came out of the event this afternoon, and I saw my phone. I saw a court judgment. I've not even read it. I've not even had time to sit with my peers and the Director of Legal Services to have an interpretation. I don't want to jump the gun on that. But as the LMC, I can tell you for free, there's a process of briefing. As a minister that superintends over a particular sector, you have to brief Mr. President after you've done several meetings, spoken with stakeholders, and then profile solutions. As at May 25th, 2022, Mr. President approved the dissolution of the LMC and the requirement, the directive that the NFF should set up an IMC because of clear evidence that our league was in dire straits, and that is in public space. Between May and August, we did not issue that directive because we wanted the Premier League to complete its season without any disruption. But also during that period, the ministry made effort and engagements to speak with those in charge. We want you to make changes. We want you to do X, Y, Z. We never got any response. As we sit here, our league is on deathbed. We know the nature of our domestic league. And just yesterday, I got a letter from the club owners. I met with them 2 weeks ago. I also met with the female football leaders. There's a letter that came on September 1st. I only got it yesterday, stating clearly that they have numerous problems with the LMC running the league. Unpaid emoluments, referees are not paid, coaches are not paid. All of this is out there in the open. So in May, there was a presidential directive and approval. As a ministry, we applied reasonable judgment and delayed that communication. But at the point when the league had ended and we saw the continuous decline of our football, we felt it was the right time to take the necessary action. And that was what we did. There's no connection with that decision. There's no connection with the NFF election. It stands alone. On the master plan, the desire to have the expansion of the Congress, of the General Assembly, was an advisory that was also given by the ministry and Mr. President. There's no interference there. The NFF, like I said in my speech, in 7.5 years, has received from the federal government of Nigeria under this president in excess of 15 billion. You go and check the 2004 NFA Act, and you see the powers of the ministry. It's clearly stated. So, there's no interference there. And I've said the alter ego of the NFF is the Congress. It is only the Congress that has the powers to increase the number from 47 to 111 as recommended. I have said it, it's the Congress that can do it. We've not forced them to do it, but we have given a reasonable and objective advice for them to do what is right for our country and for our football. And it's now left for the administrators of our football to do that along with the Congress. I think I've taken all the questions. The performance. The only way you can protect against discrimination is what Toby, Ese, and others have done. Make sure that you are ruthless in the execution of your talent when you get on that track. Because the entire world is watching, the cameras are there, the digital scoreboards are there, we're all watching. A ruthless execution when you get on that track, when the gun goes, that's the only way to fight any form of racism. Toby shot everyone down by the time she went to Diamond League. She cleared out the Olympic record holder, cleared out the Diamond League record holder, cleared out the former world record holder. Do I need to say more? Thank you.
Let us talk. Okay, I don't talk. You don't ask me anything now. My inspiration is God. And that was amazing, to be honest. I was expecting something like MFR, but I got a double portion. I'm happy, I'm excited. Thanks to the President.
What experience? No, the one the President gave us. On discrimination. You need to wear a record. You need to wear. You went with the President. Now, please, just an aside. This President, since he came in 7.5 years ago, has never given national award. He said he was not going to do it. But very first time in 7.5 years, he decided to give national award to our sportsmen and women. And we thank him most sincerely and give him credit. If you also know, this is about the highest award ever given to a Nigerian athlete. Okay, I was looking at how beautiful it is. O-O-N. Order. Officer of the Order of Niger. You check it out. I think it's about the highest any sportsman or woman has ever received. And that's what Mr. President did to both Ese and Toby, and we're grateful for that distinction. Thank you.
Okay, we've had enough questions. They've been around all morning, so they are tired. They are tired. So we have to stop the questions now, and it's almost evening. So thank you very much to Honourable Minister for coming on the 51st session. You were here on the 24th, and I think that I remember very vividly on the 24th session, you had talked about results. You had also talked about the youth investment scheme, and I'm very glad that you have actually shown results on both. 31,000 youths being given grants from 5,000 to 31,000, and then we have excellent results from the 2022 Commonwealth and a world champion. So we would like to say congratulations to the two ladies, Toby Express and Ese Brume, Flying Ese, on the national honors and for doing Nigeria proud. Thank you to the team, the Bull, Daniel Amokachi, and Permanent Secretary, and then the rest of the delegation. Thank you for coming. Thank you for our press corps, always here. Thank you for waiting that long, from 1 till about 3. We appreciate you very much. Till next week, have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much.